This is your demo under 20, and we are going to go a little bit off the Mosaic beaten path, but with some of my favorite materials and maybe something you'd want to try sometime that really doesn't take a lot of materials and it's not a very high cost. It is a little bit different than the Mosaic materials you're used to. We will be using tempered glass, cleared textured glass, but you're also going to see some paper and maybe something you've never heard of before, which is matte medium or matte gel. And it's a way to adhere the paper to this MDF board, which is about a 1/2 inch. So what we're going to do is do a little collaging onto this board. And then I'm going to show you once it dries how to add the glass to it. And as you may know with me that I like to do a lot of words in my artwork, like my mantra Mosaic. And with this one, I'm just doing some fun words. This really is just a fun piece to demonstrate this technique. And then you can go in all kinds of directions. You can get craft paper, which this is. You can find things out of old books, or this is a very old vintage piece of newspaper. This is another craft paper with the word splendid on it. This is Alice in Wonderland, says drink me, and that says only if you believe it is. Well, it sort of says that, got cut off. And then just some other decorative papers, get the picture. So I'm going to put these down in the next section and show you how to apply them so that they stay really flat. And then after that, we'll go over how to add the tempered glass and how to add the textured clear glass. So maybe this is something you want to do for fun, give as a gift, or just add it into your Mosaic artwork. Okay, so now I have my paintbrush, which is an Art Advantage number 12, and I have my matte medium out. So I'm going to start with painting part of the board. And this is, you know, typical Mosaic style. You're going to put an adhesive down, and then you're going to add paper in sort of a, you know, random paving, shall we say, sort of way. Now, when you have large pieces like this and you don't want them to be that large, very simple, tear. I don't like to have the fine edges, so I make sure all 4 of my edges are torn, and then I'm going to set it down, and I'm just going to pat it right now to make sure it's all getting adhered to the board. You don't want to go over your paper with the matte medium right now. So we're just making sure. I'm going to do a little bit of layering over, and enough of it is sticking. If it does come up a little bit, like right here, I just did this one, a tiny bit of it is coming up. So you can just go underneath, add a little more glue or matte medium, and down it will go. Now, things like tissue paper, obviously a great one. I'm going to go over the paper here, and this does have a little bit of a nice edge that I don't want. So I'm going to take that off. I am going to leave that edge so it hits the top of the board. We'll go over a little bit, and I'll show you how to make it so that, but that's nice. It's got a little transparency. Maybe we'll add this piece here so that we can have, there, that looks great. I like that. So you're going to cover your whole board. You want to make sure you don't see your substrate anywhere. So like right here, I see my substrate. So that's kind of a fun color, and we only need a tiny bit of the blue. So I'm going to take a little piece of this blue just to add some pop. Add it here, a little bit over. Again, a little bit of the gel medium over the paper is okay. It's all about getting it to adhere, because remember, we're going to put glass over this. So let's get this word splendid in. Again, you're mosaicing, kind of random paving. I'm going to get all my words in so that we have them in some kind of composition, you know, sort of in there. And now this one is sort of the star of the show, but it's way too big because we don't want to have that much paper. So I'm going to just tear off, and I really just want to see maybe the clock, the words, and maybe we'll even use those words in another area. So now I just have drink me. Let's see, not enough glue. So we'll put a little more down with our paintbrush. And now we'll come in, make sure you're doing a little bit of overlaying, so everything, but you want to still see splendid, drink me, investigate all opportunities, get the picture. So you're getting the picture, I'm sure, of what's happening here. So again, a little composition. God, I love that flower. It's so pretty. Remember, tempered glass is going to go over this, so we're not going to see huge parts of these designs. It's really about that pop of color. So we're going to go over here and bring that up to there. So I will finish doing exactly the same thing throughout this whole board, and when I come back, we'll talk about how to glue the glass on top and what's the best adhesive for that. Now we're back with all of this paper has dried. And just to show you a couple things here, I know I had that Liquitex matte medium stuff, or gel. You can also use Mod Podge. It's the exact same thing. So if this is in your studio or easier to get, less expensive, go with this. Don't feel, and it comes in different, you know, gloss and matte and different whatever that is, the reflection thing. So just get the one that you want for this. Okay, so that's that. And now this is totally glued down. And what you want to do is you want to make sure you burnish it down. So I have what's called a brayer that I used after I got all my paper down, but you can also use like an old credit card, anything that can just make sure you get all your bubbles out and you really get this flat. So this paper is going nowhere. Now, as you can see on the back side, I have a few edges that aren't, you know, awesome because I went off the edge. Just take a nice pair of scissors that can get really close to the edge and just trim. Just make sure you can really get as close to the wood as possible, cleaning them up. You can paint your edges if you like. You can add more glass, borders, tile, whatever gets you excited. So now I'm super clean on my edges. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the textured glass down. And this is going to go mostly around where I have like my words, if I want those to show up more. And then we're going to work with adhesive that is glues. And you can either use Weld Bond or matte glue. Matte glue can sometimes be difficult to find or get, so I use Weld Bond. Weld Bond can take a few days to dry, so just be prepared for that. And don't be afraid if it isn't drying like on day 2 or 3. It may take 5 or 6 days to dry. Matte glue is known to dry, you know, better, but I just sometimes don't use it because I'm more concerned about trying to find it and recommend it because I know you can get Weld Bond easily. So what you're going to do is you want to take your textured glass, and you can use all different kinds of textured glass or one kind or whatever, but we want to just nip it into pieces that we can, you know, make a mosaic out of. I don't want to just throw it down as one big piece, but I do want to make it possible to put over my certain words, and then we will add the tempered glass around it. Now, if you're looking for something a little bit more specific in this sort of technique, I highly recommend Carol Shelkin's tempered glass. She also goes over how to grout with 2 colors and how to do this just in a much more extensive way. But I wanted to just give you guys a little demo of how I would go about this, and it's kind of fun. So because these are all the words I really want to show up, maybe we'll do one in here. So now I kind of, what I like to call dry laying my pieces. And let's see here, how can we get this piece filled in? That's not wide enough. Here, maybe this one. Only if you believe it is what it says on that bottle. And if you all know me, I love my affirmations and good words. Investigate all opportunities. Drink me. Get the picture. We want that to be in, and only if you believe it is. But we have that here now, so I'm kind of going to let tempered glass happen there. So now, taking my Weld Bond, and I like to use a paintbrush in this situation, you're going to put it onto the substrate, not on the glass. But you want to make sure, actually, yeah, do it a little bit on the glass too, because we want to make sure we cover the whole, yeah, you don't want to leave any edges exposed in your tesserae. Okay, so we know that this is all going to dry clear. That's the whole idea with Weld Bond. Really paint it on good. But this dry laying, and then really give it a good push Try and get those air bubbles out. And then as you can see, there's a little bit of squeeze out right here. And so grout wouldn't be able to go there. But I have these pretty tight together. So we maybe could separate them like a 1/16 of an inch, you know, just a tiny, tiny bit. All right, now we're going to put this one down. And we'll get it onto the glass. I love this technique because it really combines a whimsical sort of approach. It makes it really something fun you can do in a day or two. The drying time's a little bit, but that's okay. Tempered glass is not hard to find. You can usually get it at places that sell, you know, office supply stores because it's for shelves of, you know, office shelves. Sometimes sell them. You can usually find them online. Just want to make sure we're keeping our pieces lined up the way I planned them, so all my words are going to show up. There we go. Get these 3 down. And then when we come back, I'll show you how I place the tempered glass. This is where Tammy doesn't have her clean rag to keep herself clean while working that she claims to do all the time. All right, one more. I'm gonna put this on Drink Me. Okay, and then on the back of here, so when we come back, I will have clean fingers and a rag and show you how I do the tempered glass. Now I'm back with some of my tempered glass laid down. So like I said, learning more about this technique from Carol Shelkin's course is a great way to learn how to work with this material. But we are going to lay down some tempered glass. And, you know, there's different people use this crash glass, tempered glass for different reasons. But you know, we don't have to say it's a mosaic just because we've used this broken glass. This could be mixed media. It could be used in a mosaic. I just love the look of it. I've always loved tempered glass, and I think it's really cool, the effect that it can have. So what I am focusing on right now is making sure these edges are really nice, because I didn't put a border or anything on here. So I really want to make sure my edges stay as close to the board edge as possible. So I'm looking through my stash here and trying to find, like, that's perfect because it kind of meets a corner, both edges, really nicely. And you want to be gentle holding these pieces because they will crumble if you're not careful. And then you're just going to kind of come in and mosaic, sort of like I did here with these pieces of glass. You're going to do the same thing. And so you can also, if you're planning to like go for it kind of quickly, you could put glue on your whole substrate. But that makes me a little nervous because I don't work that fast and I kind of want to make choices that feel good. So to do that, you can also, like, see this little nub sitting off here? I don't want that, but I want this other edge. Very gently, use your nippers. And now look how nicely that fits down. So do you see how cool that looks with the little design coming through? So imagine, now I'm going to make it all white, but when it dries, this thing is going to look so awesome. You've taken a really cool bunch of paper, and now you're just throwing a little texture over it that is in glass. So like I said, one of my favorite techniques. So you guys go get some cool paper, could be magazine paper right in your house. Don't feel like you got to go to the art store and spend $70 like I probably did. And just find, like, look at that perfect piece. And look at the pink and the brown coming through. Oh my God, I love this technique so much. So like I said, way more extensive, how to grout, how to do this with other materials and things like that in Carol Shelkin's course. Tempered glass, but here's another one, like it's hanging off the edge too far. So let's just see what happens when we nip it. Yeah, see how much it crumbles? So that's the only issue. You kind of got to find pieces that really do work, and it takes some time because once you get the big ones down, it's always, you know, the smaller ones that are going to kind of be an issue. But have fun with it, and the results are great. So when we come back, this will be totally covered and dry, and I'll show you what the end result looks like. Okay, I have glued down all of my tempered glass. There might be a couple holes here and there. And if you wanted to take this farther and really complete it, you could grout it. And just like you'd grout anything else, maybe with a tinted grout, like a pink or something that kind of went along with the palette that's here. But I really love that you could see the words. There's kind of like some fun stuff going on here, but then the really pretty patterns and color are still coming through the tempered glass. So you could grout it any color you like. You could paint the edges. You can frame it. But these just make great pieces that don't take a lot of time, not a lot more materials, a little bit of different materials than you may have in your Mosaic toolbox. But why not add something fun to it? So that is your demo in under 20. Go have some fun.